Hello, this is Clearfield County Commissioner Dave Glass, and I'm here to talk to you about the FCC Broadband Challenge. I'm going to walk you through how to make such a challenge, and let's talk briefly about why we want to do that. If you are in an area or in a house that does not have high-speed internet, but the FCC thinks you do, then that causes funding that should come to our county to potentially go to other places. So all we're trying to do is make sure we get the funding that we deserve based on our situation so that we can get better broadband to all of you. So these challenges are for people who lack any available broadband service. If you do have broadband available but you're not using it through a major provider because you don't want to pay for it or another reason, please do not submit a challenge. It will be denied. If you do not have access to high-speed internet, let's continue. First thing to note is the challenge deadline is January 13th of next year. So we don't have very much time, which is why it's important that you do this challenge as soon as possible. I recommend that you use a PC or tablet rather than a cell phone, although you can use a cell phone. Access the map from any web browser such as Edge or Chrome. So let's take a look at what we're going to see when you type in broadbandmap.fcc.gov, or if you type in FCC broadband map into any search engine, you'll get this screen here. And once you do that, you want to type in an address, obviously your home address. Now I'm going to use the one for our office in Clearfield just for demonstrations. And as you can see, as you start to type it in, the system tries to figure out where you're going with this, and as you get more and more down, eventually yours should come up. You can click on it and it takes you to your address. So the first thing we do when we get to this screen is over here, you see this little gear? We have to click on the gear because we have to eliminate all the satellite coverage. That has nothing to do with the funding stream that's going to come in, but it defaults to everything. So we take that out by clicking all wired and licensed fixed wireless. It defaults to 25 and 3, as you can see. Keep it there. If it does happen to be set to something else, we want to change it to 25 and 3. So remember, these two settings are very, very important. So once that's done, we can go back here. Anything that's in green means that the FCC thinks that that location has high-speed broadband available. And this is in Clearfield, so obviously in town it is pretty good. But as we move out of town, you can start to see some areas, some locations that are red. The red circle means broadband not served, okay? So, and you can tell even if you don't have a color monitor or it comes off on a printer, if it's a solid circle, it's green. If it's got the open circle, it's red. And so what we're looking for is if your house is red when you look at it, that means the FCC doesn't think it's served. You don't think it's served either, or you wouldn't probably be watching this, so you're done. You don't need to file a challenge. They already know that you don't have service. What we're looking for is if your house shows up in green, let's say this one, but in reality, they don't have access to BreezeLine as the FCC thinks they do. So at that point, what we want to do is click the Availability Challenge. So we click that, it brings up this pop-up menu, and we want to ignore all the satellites. We want to ignore all the low speed available options, which you're probably not using anyway, and if you did, they wouldn't give you good streaming. That leaves us with this acquisitions, which we saw on the last screen is actually BreezeLine. So we hit select. We say send my challenge to the selected provider. You put your name, email, phone number is optional. Put your reason for challenge. Maybe they denied a request for service. Maybe they don't offer the technology that says maybe you found out you can get 20 megabits per second, but this 1,000 is clearly not available. Pick whichever one is most appropriate. Let's pick that's not. And then so what you do is you describe how you know that. They're going to want you to say, how do you know you can't get service? I assume you've probably tried to get it. If you haven't tried to call BreezeLine and it shows available, I recommend you call and ask them. Maybe it's become available. If it has, great, you don't need to do a challenge. But if it's still not available, write down the information from the call in this box. You certify that it's all correct, and you hit submit. That's it. There's nothing else to it. So again, we're going to walk through it very quickly. You type in your address. You make sure that these settings are correct. You check your providers. If one of them is incorrect and you don't have access, we click Availability Challenge. We select the provider that you know you don't have access to, and we go through all this. So it's very, very simple. I want to share with you one other very brief thing, and that is the cell phone challenges. They're much simpler. There's an app that you can see right here. It is the FCC Speed Test app. You can get it off of any app store on any phone that you might have, any smartphone. And all you have to do is, once you download it, is put your information in. It'll save that information, and you can test the speed of your mobile network anywhere you go. And I would recommend doing it because the more data the FCC gets, the more they can report the holes in the network to the providers. It's very important, it's very easy, and I would recommend doing that. So that's pretty much the end of it. I want to make sure that we understand that there is a deadline on this of January 13th, 2023. So we really need you to do this as soon as possible. If you have any questions, if you have gone through this and you still can't get something to work, please feel free to email me, dglass@clearfieldco.org. Send me your name, address, a brief description of the problem. I'll get back to you within 2 days. I didn't put on here, but if you want me to call and not email, please put your phone number in and specify that. Otherwise, I'm going to email you back. I will help you work through the problem and we'll get it solved. So thank you very much for your time, and get those challenges in. Thank you.